Hi, welcome to Transitional News Part 2 with our interview with Oklahoma House Representative Gabe Woolley. And in this second part, we've got three things that we're going to be focusing in on Oklahoma.
Yes.
We're going to be focusing in on DHS.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about how to come to the table to collaborate with those with opposing views. Stay tuned. Back to Mr. Woolley here. So, Gabe, we're going to shift a little bit, kind of focus back in onto Oklahoma. You obviously represent District 98. What is something that you have just seen in this year that you've been in office for the district that you're like, this is a really good change in my district. I'm really liking this. Is there anything in particular that you have seen that you're like, that's a good move for the citizens that I represent?
You know, I think there has been a little bit of an uptick in a little more voter engagement, certainly. But generally, still overwhelming majority, I think that they want to vote and they want to be left alone, which that
True.
we want them to be engaged and educated on their vote, certainly, but we want them to have that freedom and feel that safety where they can focus on their family and work and things that they need to do and not be consumed. Not everybody's hobby is politics, you know.
Right.
And so that is sort of the American dream, almost, to be left alone by the government. You know.
That is very true.
It is very true.
Oklahoma and Texas kind of still has that vibe, right?
Yeah.
The citizens of our vibe. Yeah, just leave us alone.
So in my area, Wagner County and stuff, of course, we have dealt with some government overreach in my area, and we pursued the Attorney General's office on some of those things that were being potentially weaponized against citizens in our government. But I'm hoping that we continue to see this shift and change come to Wagner County that we're seeing on other places with leadership and things like this. But so all that to say that there has been some issues that have happened in my district, in my county, which ultimately led me to run for office, that have caused more people to be engaged with the political process.
Yes.
And put the power. Of course, my slogan I campaigned on is restoring power to the people. So I appreciate that sort of uptick in the engagement from the citizens.
Way to go, Wagner.
Right.
But you know, it's something that people are paying a little more attention to. I've certainly had people come to me with agreements and disagreements about different elected officials and the trajectory that we're going on politically and everything. To an extent, some people think that some of this, it feels like theater. Some people appreciate some of the more loud, outspoken, like we've had enough. And so I just hope that those two groups of people that maybe disagree on that issue come more together and have more of a discussion and a dialogue on that. And I think that what we're seeing, and I'm hoping what Charlie Kirk modeled for us, dialogue, is what we will be able to pick up and take on, even in my own district. So it's just part of staying out there, being engaged. I certainly do wish more voters would come to town halls and things like this, but that also shows me that hopefully they feel safe and comfortable with who they've elected, that we are doing what we need to do, and that they can always reach out to us and let us know how we can advocate for them.
Have you had very many visitors from your district come to see you while you've been up there?
Not as much. No, not as much as I wish. I wish more than the lobbyists and these other people would be people from my district, but
Invite them. Invite them right here. I
do welcome anyone, District 98, to come to my office or find me in Broken Arrow or contact me. I would love to hear more from you guys, certainly.
You know, Gabe, that is one thing that I've appreciated about you for years, even before you were Oklahoma State Rep, is that you want to have communication. You want to sit across the table with like-minded, and even those who may not be like-minded, but you want to hear, and as you hear, you're also gaining where the generation is. And I love that about you, and I watched you from a distance and up close as a state rep go into the representative, to go into, the floor, and to have a huge learning curve. And what I noticed was that you were willing to get to know your other representatives. You were willing to have conversations. You were willing to make appointments. Is that a usual thing for reps, or did you make it in your heart to be very intentional.
Well, networking when you come in as a freshman is very important because you have to get votes for your own legislation. You're going to be voting on other people's legislation. There also is some pushback and some disagreements, and you have to be careful as a representative and as a senator that you make your decision and you vote on the bill, not the person running the bill.
That's really good. Yes.
And so I maintain that policy with myself that everything I'm debating for or against, voting for or against, is based off of the language and the legislation, not the person running it. That's not always the mindset that people have. There certainly are personal attacks or personal grievances that people take and take it out on legislation. We've had some very good legislation that I think aligned with the Trump agenda that all 77 counties of Oklahoma voted for that we saw killed in the House and in the Senate, which looks like it was more because of how they personally felt about someone. And so I think that needs to be a mindset and an adjustment that we're here to serve the people. And what that means is putting aside your own pride and sacrificing that, your own will, to do what you were sent here to do.
But that just makes me springboard off into, does that not show how important it is as an individual that you always have to work on your inside attitude, your inside heart, dealing with your own wounds, right, your own hurts, so that when you step into that place as a representative or as a senator, that you can truly represent everybody in your district and not just your own emotions at that moment. Because things do get emotional, right? Words are used that are like ouchy words, or maybe somebody couldn't articulate what they really thought and the words came out maybe too harsh and they weren't meaning it that way. But that's a really good, that's really good, Gabe. Yes.
Another policy I keep with myself is that at the end of the day, I can do my part. I cannot force the other person to do their part. So sometimes you have to bring things to the table if the other person's not being receptive. This is not just other representatives, this is agencies. This is other people involved in politics,
and
people
life.
You're having a conversation with. At the end of the day, your responsibility is to do your part. You can't force them to do their part. And I have let my constituents know I've contacted this agency. I've invited them here or there. I don't know if they're going to show up or they did not, but all I can do is extend that invitation and let them know that I'm still willing to work with them and that we would love for them to be part of that collaboration, but you can't force them to do it.
You can't force them. That's called being an adult and being professional. That's the way it's supposed to be. So that just kind of then is a springboard into Mary Beth and I had the opportunity to go in and listen when you had the interim study this summer. So did you have any questions about that? And if not, well, maybe Gabe can chat a little bit about that.
So Gabe, we truly did think believed it was an honor to get to watch and to view how you legislated, that interim study, and it was on DHS. And tell me what you felt was the outcome of that interim study.
Well, I hope that the outcome, I wish more legislators were there, but the chairman was there and there was some other legislators there. I hope that the outcome was that this isn't just something that Gabe has experienced personally and he's talking about it. I hope it laid out that this is actually an Oklahoma issue that needs to be changed, because there were about 10 to 12 other people that are not related to me or my family's story that were also former DHS workers, whistleblowers, families, lawyers,
great testimonies,
and journalists that were all saying the same thing. And we're referencing different families and different stories in Oklahoma that all lined up to the same messages that we need reform and that this is a government agency that lacks some oversight and transparency. So I hope that was a wake-up call for people in Oklahoma, and I hope that was a moment where they realized that this is not just an isolated event, but that this was actually something that we need statewide reform on so we can continue to protect children and not be taking things so far that we're actually harming families because of the lack of transparency in the agency of DHS.
Yes. You can get online to the Oklahoma House Reps and you can actually find that video and actually watch the entire entire session, and you can hear the different testimonies. That way you'll know the people who gave testimony, who their names are, what positions they held either previously before they came there or currently were holding, who the committee members were that showed up, who the chairman was of the committee. And then that way you can have a better understanding of part of the reason why agencies need to be kept accountable. Because innocent people get hurt, as well as finances get sucked off and used for crazy things, as we've heard in the news. So dealing with the DHS situation, what else? The new session is going to be coming up here because we're going to go the holidays,
Yes.
and then you'll have January, and then all of a sudden it'll be time again for the 61st, right? Legislative. No, it'll stay the 60th. How does that stay?
I believe it's
I can't remember if it's 2
Yeah.
years the same
Yeah,
number.
I think it's
2 years,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, the
the same
60th
number.
again. Session 2, I guess, of the 60th. What specifically with DHS? You've done the interim study, so now you're going to get back in there. So does the interim study help you get more votes for a particular bill? Helps educate other reps and senators as to what's going on? Does it open a door, not open a door? Like, what do we do going forward with this?
Well, an interim study is I shaped this meeting as how can we change these bills? What changes do we need to make for it to be able to be allowed into committee? Because House Bill 1100 and House Bill 1164 were never allowed into committee.
Okay.
So my hope is that we make adjustments to where the chairman allows the bills to be heard in committee and
Yes.
has a fighting chance for the
Yes.
legislation to be considered.
Okay.
And so it was an opportunity at the interim study for collaboration. We had hoped to get in some more ideas and opinions on what could be changed about the bills, but it ended up kind of just being a whole meeting about all these testimonies. So hopefully that was a wake-up call that this is a problem we should take more seriously.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a little bit about DHS, but kind of a different facet of the question I'm about to ask you. Again, because we're dealing with children, is there a way that DHS or a bill can come out or discussions where, because again, I know your stance on you don't believe in abortion, but can DHS in some way assist families that are trying to foster children or adopt children, that we can, again, keep a better oversight, and those that are trying to
Right.
adopt, we can make it easier for them to adopt, or we can financially help them, in a way like that part of this, as we're working on DHS in particular as an agency that definitely needs some oversight here. Can these be some of the things that can also be brought up, and is that even a valid thing to talk about?
Yeah, I think that is something that I hope that we can look into, DHS can look into, and hopefully partner with some other organizations, because I think right now we're in a time where I've talked to a lot of people that they would like to adopt or foster, but they really don't want DHS involved in their lives because they're worried that they could be falsely accused of something and it could cause more problems.
That's
very true.
So we have to first figure out how we're going to put the people's trust, rebuild the people's trust in DHS. Right now that it isn't a thing. It's been something that's been very questionable. We just had a very large audit, exposed a lot of money. We just had other legislators sign on to a request for an audit just before that. We've had numerous stories. We've had documentaries. We've had shifting in administration, a new DHS director. And so there's a lot of uneasy feelings when it comes to DHS, when it comes to our children, and government overreach that we need to think about. So I really think we need to find a way to collaborate with DHS and start to rebuild. They're going to need to work on their PR, so to speak, their public relations. And so there still is that hesitation when I talk to people. Like, I would love to adopt or foster, but I don't want to open the door to DHS being involved in our lives because we don't trust the agency.
Right.
And so I think we're going to have to start there, honestly.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more people foster and adopt. I would like to see a way where we take away a lot of the costs and fees that kind of feel like you have to pay to adopt or foster
Yeah, you're
a child.
getting penalized for trying to help a child.
Which is wrong, and I would like to see the churches and ministries and the government collaborate with churches and ministries that help prepare people for foster and adoption, maybe counsel and prepare them for that, or help be a part of that bridge that helps ease people's minds, so it's not just the government itself. The government is actually open to having the people in the church and these communities help with that process.
Yeah. Is there a way that maybe a small team, and again, not that you guys have anything to do,
Right?
It's not like they twiddle their thumbs when they're up there during session.
No.
It's very busy. But if there could be like a small group that could go and start at the county level, right, with the DHS departments versus trying to start it all at the headquarters there in Oklahoma City, that could there be something that the local departments, right, in every county, right, that can be where the change starts first in some sort. Again, I don't know, because this is kind of beyond my knowledge right now. But
there was that movie that came out from Angel Studios, Possum Trot, where it was a town of people and a church that came together and their DHS system worked with them for the adoption process. That's
I've
kind
never
of
heard
an
of that
interesting.
Never heard the movie.
You might check it out. It's
We're
a
gonna
good
check
movie.
it out.
It's called
Possum
It's
Trot.
called
Right?
Possum Trot. It's by Angel Studios,
Okay.
and it's a church community that they all ended up stepping up and fostering and adopting these children. But anyways, they handled it on the local level, and the department ended up working with them because there was such a high need. There is going to have to be that. I believe in that idea of more local control, certainly.
Yeah.
Because on a large scale, DHS needs many changes as well as locally. So I hope that we do see that bridge and what the community could do. But again, there still is that community hesitation to get involved with DHS because it opens the door. So it's going to still first have to be that public relations aspect.
Yeah.
So new trust
Yes.
established. Yes.
Yeah. There really needs to be, in my opinion, a council and a group that would, if there's a pushback on a case and a family is disagreeing or something, that would be the counterpart to DHS. OCCY, the Oklahoma Council on Children and Youth, was supposed to be that, but they've been so dismantled and taken on too many other things. They've come so far from that. I do think that there should be some sort of council that has some parents, maybe one DHS former worker, DHS worker, but really it needs to be parents, maybe a teacher, and maybe just an at-large, average everyday citizen, making up this group that they can look at a case, almost like a grand jury, and they can look at a case and determine who, this pair of eyes, and they have to write an opinion on what DHS should do, or maybe it goes to the court. But it's going to have to hold weight because DHS holds a lot of weight in the courtroom. They always get the last word, and it doesn't end up well in many cases. And so there's going to have to be some credibility and weight given to this accountability part that's recognized by the courts.
I wonder if doing educational things even for judges, because most judges, when they come in, they just take what the DHS workers are telling them.
Yes.
Because, it's not like the judges can twiddle their thumbs and try to do all this independent research. And I'm just curious to know if can be some non-DHS sponsored training for judges that deal with DHS, but not sponsored by DHS or something, right? That might be an avenue too of helping. I don't know, just thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of this is depending on the leadership and the structure that's taken place as we come into a new governor's race here in Oklahoma, and how they're going to choose to shape and what they're going to choose to do that. Of course, our Constitution and the legislature are the counterparts and the balancing to that, so there has to be that cooperation, which is why I hope we see we have a lot of seats that are opening up because people are choosing to run for higher office and stuff, and so we need Christians and people from the church that have this mindset of wanting to see some change, work with other people, and to see that Christians and believers around the state of Oklahoma are willing to take on that mantle. Yeah. We need those people running for office and those seats and putting that influence in this 2026 campaign election for House, Senate.
That means start now.
House, Senate, City Council, higher office, all of it.